docks that have big old decks where people have actual patios out there, grills. And
Mm-hmm.
so we essentially could bring the trailer down there and go hang out on the dock all day and take the boat out. But the lake's not that big. And, one or two people die a year off of it because it's a man-made dam lake, and the stumps are underneath the water. I mean, there'll be stumps 2 feet underwater. You don't even know. And people like dove down and hit their head, or if the water's
Ooh.
low, they sea-doo and they hit one of those stumps. And so it's really like one little canal area or whatever you call it that you can actually just kind of
Mm-hmm.
big circles. But I mean, you pretty much in circles. If you go any deeper into the little coves and stuff, you're just fighting tree, or going in and out of trees and stuff. So it's not that appealing of a lake. It's great for camping, but not for a boat. But I could see docking one there and just kind of playing around for a little bit and coming back and sitting there grilling and hanging out on the water.
I know people who've got boats and they got them on a dock and they never take the boat out. They just go there for the weekend parties and hanging out. And my friend Jeff was like that. I think he actually take the boat out maybe like once a year. And then he sold that and he bought a tugboat.
Wow.
So
he bought a tugboat.
He buys it for the fridge. That's easy to get to.
Yeah. He bought the tugboat. He had it like completely revamped, different motor, had it all decked out. I haven't been on it yet, but he'll take it because he lives in PA, and I think he'll drop it around the Baltimore area, and then he'll take it to Florida. But it takes like a week because it's a tugboat.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. Fast. I do like he did. I just leave it at the dock of the marina there, but it'd be nice if once you leave, you just go right over to your camper and keep camping. Still do, you're still there. You're not going home.
Yep. Yeah, we always had a good time.
I can definitely get behind all of this. I like this. Nothing but toys conversation here.
Oh yeah,
that's a whole show right there.
Yeah, Alex, you got enough toys, don't you?
I've got more hobbies than I know what to do with, for sure.
Yeah, I need to find out another
hobby. Too many businesses and kids, though.
Yeah, kids put a damper on the hobbies, toys.
Well, we got 8 seconds till business time, kids.
No shit.
Hold on, let me do my makeup.
And here we go.
Happy Friday.
Yeah. This is the we don't often get a full lineup of microphones.
I know. I was gonna. I usually hide it, but I'm like, no. You know what? You got yours out.
We got the Elvis microphones.
Mm-hmm.
According to Alex.
That's right.
So what's been going on? What's been going on, Jason? Man, you've always I don't know. You're always popping up in my feed all the time on Facebook, and
I got to save my advertising budget and try to work the free stuff as much as I can. Right.
I get it.
Somebody commented. I posted something about the repossessions going up. And the guy's like, man, why are you always posting negative stuff? And I'm like, guys, I just want to try to prevent you from being blindsided by something. We're record gross and record profits and record volume. And all of a sudden, 45 days. Because here's the thing. If you wait till you feel the pain, the slowdown, you're 30, 45 days behind. And so this slowdown's already happening. So if you're going to sit there and wait and, I want to be, and here's the thing: there's a difference between being negative and pessimistic in my eyes, because I'm gonna be. It's a negative situation, right? It is inflation, gas prices, slowdown in lead count, what have you. My grosses.
What's your imagination?
But you can be optimistic in that situation, going, okay, if this is happening, here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to be proactive and we're going to attack this and be optimistic. So when I talk, a lot of times I think people don't want to because I do the Friday morning clubhouse on all things used cars, and I seem to bring up a lot of negative things, but I want guys to be prepared. But I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer and bring everybody down going, oh, we ain't going to sell any cars today. No, here's the situation. Now figure out how to be optimistic on how you're going to handle it. So yes, it's negative news. There's always going to be negative news. You're always going to have problems. Somebody's going to die. Somebody, your dog's going to die. You're going to have no traffic today. But be optimistic in that situation. And if you have no traffic today, pick up the phone, pick up the email, start generating something for tomorrow. So there's a big difference between being negative and pessimistic.
No one clicks on the positive stuff anyways.
Yeah.
Call to action's got to have something negative in it, or the title.
Positive's just for LinkedIn.
But would you say dealerships in general are definitely way quicker to adapt? I mean, I'd love to get your feedback on what's up with Carvana and Vroom before we get too deep into some of the other things. What's your take on that? And, like I said before, it seems as if dealerships, as long as we've been in the business, they're quicker to adapt. You mentioned being a pessimist. I don't think dealerships are naturally pessimistic, but
no, they're very optimistic.
Yeah, but they know how to adapt and overcome a little quicker. They sort of, especially in this business for a while, they're hesitant to make quick moves because they always know something's going to shake out. And you think maybe that's why we've seen the situation with Carvana and Vroom because they weren't anticipating, and they didn't know how to leverage the market in the way they needed to.
So I do think dealers are very great at getting through all situations. And I mean, the COVID situation was a perfect example. Rob Ruth Ford, if you guys don't know him, he's from Bob Ruth Ford, and he literally had his doors were locked. He has videos. He was doing testimonies about it. I mean, he was showing a video where he's like, I can't even get to my own dealership. Well, that same dude, he sat there and sold, I think it was 180 cars while the doors were locked. And the first day he was able to open the doors, 180 cars delivered, right? So he found a way around it. The problem, I think, with sometimes dealer strategies is I would say the short-term dealer strategy. Managers, salespeople, and even the dealers, I think a lot of times is short-sighted because we're always, hey, the first half of the month, second half of the month, how we end up this month, how we end up that month. And, these Carvanas of the worlds, these CarMaxes of the worlds, and even the auto, I mean, they're so long-term sighted. They're focusing on the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months. And, they're going to gauge monthly performances, but their vision is long-term. So I think a lot of dealers still keep that 30-day blinders on. And like I was saying earlier, if you wait till you feel it, then you're like, oh crap, it's been a slow month. And then you try to react the next month to be a little bit more, you're 60 days behind. It happened the previous month, right? Because we see that with activities. We see that with floor traffic. It's like, if I start calling an email, the next week, I'm going to have a lot of appointments and a lot of people coming in the door. So now all of a sudden, like, man, where's all this traffic? I'm busy as heck and we're selling a lot of cars. Well, guess what's not happening? I'm not calling and I'm not emailing. So then the next week I fall off again. So months run that, weeks run that period. So do months. And so sometimes that month you're busy and you had a record month. Don't be surprised, then that next month slows down. Well, one, it's probably because you didn't do follow-up and engagement that you need to do, but things were starting to slow down anyways. And now here you are jammed up. And then you got to catch up, but that doesn't position you better for the following month. And so again, you're 60 days behind. So don't wait to feel it. And when we talk to dealers, I was just on a call yesterday with a dealer, guys. Everything's great. Everything's looking good. And his numbers were looking good. I'm seeing hints of this, and this. And I told him, I'm trying to position you for the end of June. You got 45 days between now and July. And the way all the metrics that we track showing June's not that strong, both in shopper engagement and volumes of sales that we've tracked. June's going to be a shorter month. So let's tighten the ship now. So June's good. We're using June to straighten up for July, and just position ourselves better. If anything, be 30, 40, 60 days ahead, not 30, 40, 60 days behind.
Yeah.
But And so go back to the Carvanas of the world
By
and
the way,
the COVID.
easier said than done if you've been doing it the blinders on for so long.
Yeah.
How do
Oh,
you look
especially 2
ahead?
years. Hmm? How do
How
you look
would
at
a dealer look ahead? Somebody who's been looking towards the current calendar month for so long.
Well, I'm looking at in here when I reference things, I'm mostly talking about used cars because we have control of that. New, we really don't. So with used, I mean, think about it. One way to do it is this 5-day-old car in 45 days is going to be aged. So my positioning myself good enough right now to get off of it before it hits. Whatever I'm buying now will be 45. It'll be aged in July or 45 days at the end of June and going into July. So when you look at a car, just realize, when do you want to get off of it? Well, I like on average to leave every 30 days. Well, it's 15 days old right now. And if we don't react now, you only got 2 weeks left to get it off in 30 days. And if you don't, and you delay that, it's going to be aged by June or July. And if things are slower then, and the metrics that we track, and we've tracked over the years, we track shopper accounts and see their seasonal shopper patterns. We see our volume at our dealerships that as a group, we look at dealerships overall volume and we can see patterns of, the volume increasing and decreasing. So some of those metrics that we're looking at, and we'll look at like listings of cars. I was talking to you earlier about that. We've over, let's say year over year, we see the shopper activities down 20% from what it was this time last year. And then in the same time, and May and June seasonally goes down anyways. So we know going into June, it was a valley last year, both in volume that we've seen at dealers' lots and shopper activity. So here we are in May, mid-May. Shoppers already down 20% from the previous year. And we knew June was about 20% lower than May last year. So what's this June going to look like?
Yeah.
Throw in inflation, gas prices, everything else. In the meantime, we looked at June listings because we'll grab nationally, Auto Trader, cars.com, how many used cars they have listed nationally. And 1.5, 1.2 million last year on those two sites is now 1.6 and 1.3 million. There's 100,000 more used cars listed. When there's 20% less shoppers going into a slower season, but last year we didn't have inflation. Last year people had, maybe some stimulus money. Well, so that's how we're positioning that's how we look at it. Not only as a dealer without us chiming in your head, as a dealer, look at a 5, 10, 15-day-old car and go, okay, what's it going to look like 45 days from now? It's 15 days old. 45 days now, it's 60. What do I got to do to position myself to get it off before it hits there? So, but again, I think with the COVID, I think positioned dealers to be more reactive on digital retailing, private party acquisitions, right? They couldn't go to the lanes. They had to figure out another way to buy cars. So that's a big popular thing over the last years, how to buy cars off private sellers so I don't have to fight the lane. And then digital retailing, not that that's a booming part of their business, but they had to do that. And I think they're dragging their feet on that for a while up until COVID. Dealers dabbled in it, didn't try it. And so
I saw a lot of dealerships dabble in it, and now they've sort of dabbled back out of it.
Yeah, they did.
Unless the manufacturer is insisting upon something.
Yeah, the tech's not ready in a lot of cases.
Not only the tech, the processes too. You got to fine tune those processes to the tech, and if one's strong tech, bad process, or vice versa, you guys both have to line up pretty good. And my biggest fear, to your point again, and going back to Carvana, as people are posting and as you're seeing the Carvana and the Vroom stocks just shooting down, my fear is dealers going, see, that doesn't work, and they're all wrong. Get them in the door. Hey, when can you get here? Type of back to that. And the way prices are, retail prices are, new and used, that's kind of how it's been. Hey, we got it. If you don't like it, here's our price. You don't like it, see you later, right? So we've gotten back to that old school mentality pretty quick. But I think, if Carvana fails or as they're doing it, dealers are like, see that. I think you're going to have that option. Customers I I think the hybrid model, I know Alex Vetter at Cars, he's always talking about the biggest benefit is that kind of that hybrid model where you give that opportunity to do a lot online and then show up and do the delivery type of scenario. I think that's the win-win, but dealers just can't throw everything out the window if Carvana fails. That's not the market drives it. The market wants to do business that way. We just have to figure it out. COVID helped get ahead of that, but
do they?
Huh?
Do they?
What,
Does the market really want to do that? I don't know.
No, I think I wouldn't want to. I would want to test drive a car and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, a new car, that's one thing. If I go test drive, I can come in, I could test drive an F-150, go, yeah, I like the truck. Okay, now I'm going to go back home and I'm going to order the way I want it, right? And they could sit at home and do it and then have it shipped to them and all that if there's not a trade involved and all this other crap. But once you throw in a trade, once you throw in a used car, I think they want to do business with the dealer that makes it the easiest for them. And again, that kind of dictates it. I think some of it. They want to do the credit app online.
Based on the comments that are coming through, and I think where we're landing, at least to put the digital retailing one to bed for a minute, it sounds like we're still getting hung up on what digital retailing truly is from a definition standpoint. But what we're all saying is I think that the customer wants something where they can at least figure out the parameters within a certain amount of money before coming into the dealership.
Yeah. Well, perfect example, kind of off key, but I was leasing a car for my son. When his lease was done, he didn't need it anymore, but my daughter needed a car. So I said, okay, we're going to take you off the Civic, and she wanted like an HRV. So we spent a few hours at the dealership picking out. She wasn't sure what she wanted, got everything done, but we couldn't finish the deal. Went home. A few days later, we were going to go back, but it was going to be a 3-year lease, 12,000 miles a year, right? All this other stuff. They essentially could have let me digitally sign up, come back into the dealership and pick it up. But we get to the dealership. It was like 5 o'clock. We went there. I had at that time, she's probably 4 years old. I had my daughter, another daughter who was 12, and then, our other daughter. And so we're going to go there. So here's my daughter getting her new car. She's all excited. We're excited. We're going to get her a new car. Everything's already done. We're just going to go sign the paperwork and then go to dinner. Wow. We were there for 3 hours. They tried to upsell us on the paint fab wheel protection thing because I didn't need a warranty, but they're trying to do.
Did they not know who you were?
Well, you know what? My daughter, who's going to be driving back and forth to KU, which is like 30 minutes, and going through drive-through. I'm sure she's going to do some curbs, right? And I'm sure she's going to get a rock in her windshield going back and forth on the highway. So I contemplated it, but my wife goes, "No, we don't need to do that." I'm like, "You sure?" No. And she didn't want to do it, so we backed out. The thing is, if they would have done the stuff over the phone with me during the day, I probably would have said yes. Yeah. I would have showed up there and we would have picked it up. We went to dinner. But guess what? My kids were getting hangry. They're like, we just need to leave. We need to go. And it was a mess. We said no to it and we left. And that, to your point, I mean, there are certain things that, man, I wish we would have done this. And if he would have hit me up online, I probably would. Who's the easiest person to sell something to? It's usually a salesman, right? I would have bought it.
Yep. Yeah. So, I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
Dude, I
would have bought it. My wife's the one that said no. And I'm like, all right. She's the boss. Nope.
I tried to buy a third vehicle from a local dealership here. They know who I am. They know got a local business here that supports car dealers. And still, I was just like, dude, all you need to do is just give me a round ballpark on what my trade's worth.
Yeah.
You got to come in. You got to come in. Like, dude, I'm too busy. Just give me a damn number. I can figure out the payments from there.
Carvana, give me one.
Yeah. So he knocked me out of the market. I'm not in the market anymore just because of that.
Oh, wow. No, that sucks. Yeah. But I never understood why not just go ahead and give the customer a figure. Just a straight up figure. Not even a range. Just put a damn number on it.
Yeah, if I come in and half the car is caved in or something, then
exactly. It's not like you signed any paperwork around it.
Right.
Yep.
Well,
get them in the door.
Jason, I don't know if we ever got back to Carvana and Vroom.
Like, my thoughts on them?
Yeah. Just what's going down the latest.
I think Jared was commented earlier, he was at an event I just came back from, a President's Club thing. And one of the things I brought up there, and my fear was, and this might not be where you want me to go with the Carvana stuff, but Carvana or Vroom, I said, guys, as a dealer, you always want something breathing down your neck just to keep you ahead of the game, right? I said, what I would have envisioned in the back of my head to be the monster breathing down my neck right now is, imagine this, because their stock is so low, Vroom or Carvana would be ideal. What if Walmart came in and acquired? You see the headline tomorrow: Walmart acquires Carvana. And I go, here's the thing. It's not that far-fetched.
No, it's not.
Walmart had tried used cars. Walmart has service facilities and tires and oil changes. They can recondition the cars at a lot of locations. They have big parking lots where they can wall off, 20, 30, 40 cars. You could come in and test drive a car and go get toilet paper. You can go get your car serviced there that you bought from them. Right. And they got a bank there too, by the way, and, so, and they got all the transportation stuff figured out. Right. I can buy something at Walmart right now and have it delivered to my office here this afternoon. Right. They got transportation figured out. That would be the monster breathing down my neck.
What else they have?
Locations everywhere.
They share the same digital retailing technology with Nissan.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Jason, do you know something that we're not privy of?
No, that's what I say. Now, Vroom could be even cheaper because it's down to like $130, so you can really swoop them up. But they don't have the. But think of all the Odessa locations. You got places for warehouse. Because think about Walmart, their biggest thing is warehousing and then the logistics of transportation, all that. Now that Carvana owns Odessa, there's your warehouse situation figured out, right? Of all these units, and they got all the location ping points, that would be scary because you think, Carvana is going to fail and they're going to go away. You can say Amazon buys them, but Amazon buying them wouldn't scare me as much as Walmart buying them.
It's Walmart.
Amazon doesn't have a service facility. People aren't, I go to Walmart once a week probably, or every other week. My wife's, we avoid it. We try to go to Target sometimes with Walmart.
Same here.
But I'm going to run to Walmart and, that would scare the crap out of me.
That would be
doing to stand out to, even if that happens, that people are still going to do business with you.
Well, and think about CarMax.
Just said their footprint would kill everyone.
People forget that CarMax was Circuit City. If you're a box retailer, it makes a lot of sense to diversify. Good thing Circuit City
sure does. I was working at Circuit City doing car stereo installation whenever they introduced
CarMax
down that whole route. Yeah, CarMax. Yeah.
Well, think about the Costco does it too, but Sam's Club, which is Walmart, does the car club, right? And you can buy cars, discount it through them, and that's already set up. And they got service facilities. I mean, come on.
Tires.
So
tire shops.
Going back to the Carvana thing, as much as you want to say it's a threat or not a threat, and they're going away and they suck and people don't, and they want to get back to doing business with people. Well, guess what? Walmart had people. They're going to keep that business model and just scale it. So that would be if I was a dealer, that would be the monster breathing down my neck to make sure my processes, my communication, my community involvement, my staff, my people, we're standing out in the market. So go ahead. Like I said, I try to avoid Walmart and go to Target kind of scenario. So go ahead, Walmart, we're the target of the car buying, and you can keep buying your cars from Walmart if you want. You go buy your Mercedes from Walmart if you like, but so I think dealers still can have a leg up.
Weird.
Yeah, exactly. So dealers have a leg up if they know how to manage, be involved, have staffing. I mean, have your communications. Go back to you said about seeing me on Facebook and social media. I mean, make that presence in your market. So if that does happen, it sucks, but we'll figure a way out, right? There's still the
You mentioned you were at a Dollar Tree. You mentioned you're at a conference. Were you at Digital Dealer or then driving sales or just driving sales? I also heard that you won some award.
Yeah. So 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got about a half a day at Digital Dealer because I was mostly there for the now Mastermind. David Villa runs a Mastermind event. I was there. And then the following few days later, flew back out for, the driving sales presidents, their President's Club. And there was a innovative insight award there. We toe to toe with like 5 other vendors. So we were able to pull that one off. luckily. And so no, that was fun. What that does is gives me the opportunity to be a keynote at the driving sales in October. So
okay,
that's a big opportunity.
And then you've got what's this Carpalooza thing?
Yeah, so
cars.com, right?
That's why we're here today, right?
That's the whole reason why we're here. So cars.com, I love that team over there. Alex Vetter, Joe Chura, the whole team over there. Dean Evans is over there. So what happened was we have a training facility here locally that we do our university, LotPop University, or LotPop 20 group. Matter of fact, we'll have one starting Monday for used cars here. And my thought was to fill this space because it sits empty most of the time. I'm going to get with Tommy Gibbs and Ed French. Now, if you guys don't know, Tommy Gibbs has been around. I'm not going to fill it up, but I'm going to get 30 years probably. He's owned his dealerships. He's a big used car consultant. He's very close with the Viato and stuff and Dale as he grew the company. And then Ed French, again, dealer operator, used car operator. He consults dealers on used cars. And I went to Tommy and I said, hey, I got an idea. And even Ed, I said, what if the three of us get together and do a workshop? And I was going to do it here about getting back to the basics, because I think, again, this market's shifting. We've been spoiled. The managers have been spoiled. The used car manager that just took the position a year or two ago thinks they're heroes. And they're going to get punched in the face.
Making bank.
So let's do it back to the basics. And over the years, Alex Vetter's always, supported us. And he said, hey, if you ever want to host your university or your 20-hour place, come on out. We'll host it here. So I thought about that. After I talked to Tommy Gibbs, I went to Tommy Gibbs at NADA. I said, hey, I got this idea. What do you think? Tommy's like, oh, man, come on. All my stuff's kind of outdated. No one, he was kind of being humble, and he's like, it's outdated. No one, not that he said, I don't remember if he said no one wants to hear from me, but he kind of just blew it off like, my stuff's old school. I said, Tommy, if any time is now that people need to get back to they think they're I said, we need, and he's like, let me think about it. So he circled back around, and Ed French was in, and he's like, let's do the, and Tommy said, yeah, I'll do it. And then that's when I said, you know what, let me reach out to Alex Vetter. Let's make this in Chicago. And if he's, and of course the text back from Alex is, oh, place is yours. We'll provide the lunch and stuff. And I said, let's make it a free event. We don't need to charge for it. It's just a good little, awesome, like a mastermind. We're each going to do a topic. Matter of fact, I was going to say, I got my little cheat sheet here because I got the three of us on the phone. I said, hey, what do you want to cover, Ed? Ed's going to do like financial statement benchmarks or new priorities for recon and forgotten responsibilities for best in class used car managers. So he's going to, a lot of the, dealer behind the scenes, financial statement benchmarks, things like that. Tommy's really good at, pressure cost down. He focuses a lot on go grab the 10 highest priced cars on your lot. And those are probably your biggest issues and work. So pressure cost down, tack the 10 most expensive cars, and life cycle management. And so I was going to wrap it up with, with current market trends and things that we do. I got the book, the Work the Facts book. The factual things happening on your lot. Are you heavy on 18s? Well, let's attack 18s. If you're heavy in large pickup trucks and you have large so we're going to cover data that's happening on their lot, control that first, and control what you can control. So between the three of us, we'll do a little workshop. We'll probably have a panel up there. We're going to have Alex Vetter is going to be speaking, Joe Chur is going to be speaking, and then we're going to, just have a panel discussion too. I think I want to wrap it up with, okay, the five of us up here on the stage, throw some stuff at us, guys. What's your challenges? Who wants to take that? Who wants to take that? And what the other cool thing, I think, so it's June 16th. It's called Used Car Chicago. Yeah. So we're trying to come up with the idea. My son, who's my office manager, he goes,
who came up with his name?
Well, my son, he was like, it's like getting all the bands together again. I said, yeah, it's kind of like Lollapalooza. And I said, we should name something like that. And he goes, well, Lollapalooza did come out of Chicago. I'm like, oh, perfect. I said, so then we brainstormed and came up with the Used Car Palooza. I don't know if between me and him, but we just said Used Car Palooza. And that's where the name came from. And we said, it's like saying, hey, are you dazed and confused about the current market? So we went with the whole 70s, little 70s theme and said, because it's kind of dazed and confused. A lot of guys are just kind of, what is a
Just trucking along.
everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. The old Mike Tyson quote, So I think a lot of dealers are getting a little punch in the face right now and feel a little dazed. Like what's going on? What should I do? Should I react and start moving faster, or is it going to come back and hold out? And so, again, that's just the stuff we want to talk about. And so what we did too on June 16th is the date. We booked it we're going to go from like 10 to 4. I wanted it late enough in the day that people could fly in, because Chicago's pretty easy. I know I could get a flight and be there at 7:30 in the morning if I wanted to, right? And so you can fly in the morning, get there at 10. We'll wrap up by 4, catch a 6, 7 o'clock flight if you want to come outside the market. Cars.com's doing their job of getting the regional people, Milwaukee, Chicago, getting their dealers to try to attend and sign up. If you go to what I was going to say, so they're giving us 200 people type of thing. So it's going to be a little limited on spacing. Cars.com's gracious for the space, and they're going to provide a lunch there for us. So no, it's going to be a good time. It was just something that wasn't going to be, it was just going to be me and Tommy and Ed here at my office and nothing big, and just try to see, I can host like 30 or 40 people here and just see who we can all drag in. But after reaching out to Alex, I think it's going to be a better opportunity there in Chicago.
I wish it was closer. I would definitely attend. It sounds like it's going to be pretty insightful. Some great people, including yourself.
Yeah, and I told Alex Vetter and their team there, I said, I'd like to see, somebody from Cars.com. They have a lot of good reporting in the back end. I don't think dealers take advantage of, and just let, hey guys, if you need help, if you go in the back end of because you guys know, you have 20 other vendors, and there's a lot of reporting in the back end, and especially a site like Cars.com, you're just relying on listing cars and getting leads. How much do you actually dig into the back end? I think they got a lot of good information there.
You said Lollapalooza started in Chicago. I think I must have forgotten about that. Okay. Yeah, I went to I've been to 2 of them, and when they were Northern Virginia, DC area. And I went to the one, I think, I don't remember what year it was, 93 or 94. Crazy time, man. Crazy time.
We getting old. So it's UC, the letters UC for used car, and then Palooza, Palooza. So UCPalooza.com, and sign up. It's free. Like I said, if you're
I just posted it on DealerRefresh Facebook, and I got the graphic. I'll get that over into the when we post this recording over in the forums. I'll slide that over in there as well.
Cool.
Oh, Dan Sayer.
What's he saying?
VDPs versus average daily inventory or unique VIN count. Cars.com reporting versus Auto Trader. Go.
Average daily inventory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leave it to Dan.
He's fishing with dynamite again.
So I like looking at VDPs on your own website too. You want to gauge that.
Yeah. You guys, didn't you just get approved through Lithia? Congratulations on that. That's awesome. Yeah, Susie. Yeah. Who's got that title? Hold on a second. We got Susie and the Banshees, Living Car, 9 Inch Nails, Behold Surfers. Is that who's? Oh, that was the very first one. Because I went first one. The one I went to had The Cure, and most Susie, The Cure, Replacements. I can't remember them all. A lot of the Behold Surfers. Alex, you probably listened to the Behold Surfers, didn't you?
Were you dazed and confused while you were there?
Listen to all of them. Henry Rollins, I haven't heard that name in a while, though.
Yeah, really.
Oh, yeah, man. Black Flag.
Yep.
Yep. He's a unique individual. He's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, whatever happened.
I've always wanted to put Henry Rollins and Ted Nugent in the same room.
That'd be amazing. That would be amazing. Yeah, he was lead singer for Black Flag, which, if you're not familiar, is like a punk group back in the day. But he's a cool character.
Back in the
so again, congrats on the with the Lithia motors. I'm sure that's pretty exciting.
Well, again, my design for the company that we did, starting out again, I started out my basement, left auto just on scraps. And, I just wanted that. Mostly I wanted to help the smaller dealers, because I see these big dealer groups have used car directors, used car assistants. And, a lot of my time was spent and on the retail end too. It's just, one guy carrying, or gal having 50 to 150 cars on their lot. They got a desk deals, appraised deals, deal with heat deals, buy cars at the, they're strung out. And, they weren't big enough to get an assistant. And how do I hire them and train them, and who do I get? And then they weren't part of a dealer group that had a used car director to help them out. And that was kind of my design with this. Well, and so the whole Lithia thing, I love it and I appreciate it. And what I find there in a lot of dealer groups too, that as I'm getting we got into one or two of their stores, right? And they kind of do operate themselves. There's still that used car manager carrying 100 cars on top of trying to do and everything else. So it's the same thing. So after getting within a few of the dealers, of course, we had to be vendor approved. So we had to go, we got that done. And mostly I just posted that just to, hey, if there's any other Lithia dealers out there that's struggling and need some help. It wasn't a corporate partnership and we're going to get into all their stores or anything like that. It was just, hey, if you're at a Lithia store, you can now use us, because I bring that all up because of one of the comments of one of my long-term dealers. He's like, oh, you're going to forget about us small guys. I'm like, no, that's where my heart and my passion is. And like I said, as I deal with some of these stores and even though it's a big dealer group, most of the time they're still struggling trying to figure it out themselves. And that's really what I wanted to do, is help that manager be more efficient through their day and through their week on what they're doing, give them a good action plan on attacking the inventory and their leads. So that's how that worked out. No, it's fun.
Well, each Lithia
I see
store
Drew
sort of reports up to the regional level, but it's not. I think a lot of I thought this when I was at Checkered Flag. Some of these giant groups were coordinated and really working at a national scale, and they're actually given a lot of autonomy and freedom at the general manager level.
Yeah, so that's how I found it. And so I'm like, I'm really accomplishing the same thing I'm doing with everybody else. It's not like, they're trying to beat up the small guy. Obviously, they probably wouldn't mind acquiring some of them, and they're doing that kind of stuff. But it wasn't so much, like you said, it's not like this big corporate entity like I would imagine like a Carvana is, working its way through the market. It's still, a used car manager trying to figure it out, and I just wanted to help them.
So Dan's not leaving this one alone. So unique VIN count during a month versus, let's see, and most others report average daily VIN count.
It popped off.
Here you go.
While you guys are figuring that out, Drew, you are correct. It wasn't Lollapalooza. It was a DC 101, which is a huge alternative rock station outside of DC. I believe now it's affiliation with iHeartRadio, but I think it wasn't Lollapalooza. It was a DC 101 event, which was pretty notorious back in the day.
Drew comes in with the answer too.
Throws off your stats. How do you normalize the VDP versus car count? I mean, that's why I'm getting confused with this question, because initially, I'm looking at the car itself and how many engagements is that car getting. I guess if you look at your inventory as a whole and say, hey, we had this many VDPs divided by this many cars, and so that's this many per. I was a few LLP, never saw the care.
Has nothing to do with VDPs.
So, I guess if you're looking at your VDPs as a whole and dividing it by how many cars you have, and averaging it out that way. But if you're looking at an individual car, that's the count on that car. I don't, that's what I'm trying to understand his question. I know one reports it different than the other. Big dogs have much easier time rotating their inventories.
Well, how about a little change of subject? So, before we got on, And before Jeff even showed up, we had a little discussion about Google Trends on the used car search term. And we were also talking about some of the April performance and things we were hearing from our own dealers. So, have you noticed a change in leads or anything along those lines that has happened since the winter?
Yeah. So anybody listening or watch this could do this themselves. They can go to google.com/trends. And when you do that, you can type in a keyword. And what's cool about that, you can type in Ford and do it versus Chevrolet and see how many people are going to Google and are they looking for Ford more than they are looking for Chevrolet. So in this example, type in used cars. So this would be, what is the count of shopper activity going to Google, typing in used cars. Now, real quick, and I've done a big old YouTube video about this and justified it, but some people, that's pretty generic search. That's not very, I used to pull the same shopping data out of manually out of AutoTrader and cars.com. You could log into the back end of AutoTrader and they say, hey, you've had this many shoppers in your market. And I would manually pull that. I've been doing this for almost a decade now. So I used it for years, did that. And then I started playing around with Google Trends and the same shopping pattern happened. Okay, over the same as getting it from the horse's mouth, right? I got it from AutoTrader, and it's the same. So now I just use Google Trends as my point of reference because I'm assuming more people go to Google than just AutoTrader, right? So, anyways, to back that up, so go there, type in used cars, and then you can look even year over year. The first snapshot is going to be nationwide, and it's going to be the last 12 months. You can see last year, they don't give you a raw number. 100 is the peak. So if 10 million people was the peak and it happened in March 5th through the 12th, that would be the 100. So on the 12-month period, going back 12 months, the peak was this time and we're down 20%. Actually, it's 27%. I looked at it the other day. I just did a video on it. Now, if you look at the last 5 years, what you'll see is February, March, shopper activity is usually the highest. February and March is when it peaks year after year. You'll see those spikes, and then it drops down through April and May and June, a little bit of an uptick in July, August, and then just straight down through December, back up through January, or back up February, March, back down through April and May and June, and then back up a little bit, summer sales events back down through December. You'll see that year after year after year. So what's funny is last December, that shopper activity that just happened 6 months ago was as low as when the country shut down during COVID. I mean, imagine that.
Okay.
The shopper count was as low as COVID shut down in December. So starting out the year wasn't great. And then if you compare the February, March peak that we're supposed to have had comparably to the previous 5, as a matter of fact, Google will let you go back to 2004 and it's lower than it ever has been. And going back to even 2004, almost 20 years. But you look at the last 5 years, our February, March numbers were about 20 to 30% lighter than previously, and we're already in this downward trend. So if you compare May to May, even just last year, again, it's about 20% lighter, 22% lighter. They'll say we're at like 80 on a scale of 100 this time last year, and we're like it's 45 now, and it was like 60 or 70 this time last year. Okay, so on a scale of 100, it was like at 60 or 70 by this time. And right now we're 40% lighter. So that's happening. And again, last year, a big old valley went straight down through June and then a little bit of an uptick in summer sales event. And that's what we're talking about. Like a little bit of uptick in July, August, or August, September. That happens. But I think that ties up, again, used cars. I think it ties up with the summer sales-a-thons, Toyota summer sales events, that big promotion. And I don't think that's going to happen this year. So if last year June was 10% lighter than May, what are we heading into? And May's already 20% lighter than last year. In the meantime, I think I mentioned earlier, there's 100,000 more used cars listed at the same time. The other thing that we track is what percentage of our dealers are selling their inventory in 2 weeks. We've got hundreds of dealers across the country. My point is, if you're carrying 100, I want you to sell 100 in a month. So our goal is to sell half of it, 50% of it in 2 weeks. So every day, my team, we capture that data of all our dealers, what percentage are they selling in that 2 week window? Okay. This time last year, they were still selling about 50% of their inventory in 2 weeks on average. Because again, it was pretty strong last year. We're down to 41% right now. Again, now that's only 9% difference, but remember, it's only 2 weeks. You do that by 4 weeks, it's an 18%. It's about a 20% drop in volume, which matches the 20% drop in shopper count. So what's June going to look like, right? June dropped off in our valley too, right? June, our 2 week sales cycle percentages for our dealers dropped. So again, that's kind of the shopper activity, the inflation, going back to posting negative things and stuff. I put a lot of things out that we should give dealers warning. It's not looking good. Start tightening and buckle, because if you wait till June or July, you're too late. You're too late. Yeah, and then when I tell that to dealers and they don't want to hear it because they got record months and their grosses are still good and they don't want to drop the prices, I'm like, I can only show you what,
because you don't know what you're talking about, Jason.
I'm a speculator here in the game, but if I was a betting man, I'm putting all my chips here, So, and I tell them,
another question.
I even say, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. It'll be,
of course.
I would love to get the phone call from you in 45 days from you, idiot. I told you were wrong. Congratulations. I want the economy to come back. I want everything to go, look good. And you guys have record months. And individually as a store, you probably can have record months. Again, it's bad news, but you can be optimistic about it, be proactive and do something about it and have a record June. You can. And you're going to tell me, see, you're wrong, Jason. I had a record June. Okay, that's fine. And congratulations. But as a whole,
because you listen.
Yeah. And so I said, if I'm wrong, I'll take that sword. And so worst case scenario, I'm wrong and you have a strong market. Best case scenario is you're clean and you can be a buyer. If things go soft, guys are going to look to dump cars and you can actually be a buyer. You always want to be a buyer in current market values. But if you're holding and hoping, I always say the managers that try to control gross by managing gross cost themselves gross, right? If I try to, I'm going to hold out. I'm going to keep my price here, and I'll get somebody. I'm going to put them on it, and I'm going to make this happen by trying to control the gross by managing it. I always see it ends up costing them gross in the long run. And so, if you're going to try to control your way through this without adjusting to what's happening in the market, you might end up hurting yourself in the long run.
There was a question in there that Drew was asking about how you measure this. So are you looking at the first 2 weeks versus the last on a rolling?
No, you're rolling. So I'm going to, today, you can go in vAuto, VenQ, Maxage, or whatever, and go look at how many units you sold in the last 2 weeks, or look at your own numbers. If you sold 20 units in 2 weeks, right, and you got 40 cars in stock, you sold 50%. And tomorrow, if it drops to 18, you got 36, that's 18 units, 36 with 50 in stock. So just every day, look at your rolling 2 weeks of sales and try to be at 50%. And then, because that'll put you on pace for the 100. And if it's trending down, then you need to know why. What's happening? Is my average investment up? Photos get behind? Did my pricing go up? Even though I didn't raise the price, the market moved before I did, so I need to adjust. Am I carrying too many trucks? Not enough cars? Do I have the leads? Let's go, back to that lead topic. We are seeing less leads per car. We're looking at leads per car, because again, my leads could go down as a whole, can go down 20%, but if my inventory is down 30%, and would show a 12 turn in vAuto, right? No, Drew, on that too. Some of the inventory tools will do, and I know vAuto because I used to work there, that their turns based on your average age of your dollar. So the good and bad thing about that, it can be manipulated. What I mean by that is you can be at 10 turns right now because the average age of your dollar is 35 days old, okay? If you go buy 10 new cars at 1 day old, you got 1 day old dollars coming in. It drives your average age of your dollar down from 35 to 30 overnight. you'll jump from 10 turns to 12 turns, and you think, because I used to make that mistake when I would go in when I was with Viato, I said, oh man, you guys got 100 cars in stock, your turn's at 12, so you guys must be on a pace for 100. And they go, no, we're selling 70. I'm like, but they got a bunch of fresh cars that came in, right? Mm-hmm. So again, I would look at that turn, but I would also look at just kind of your sold turn. What are you on pace for? If you got 50 out in the last 2 weeks, that puts you on pace for 100. You got 100 in stock. That's a 12 turn, right? That's how grocery stores figure it out for Frosted Flakes. I got 10 on the shelf. I sell 5 a day. I got 2 days worth, So do that. The other turn that we look at, just to piggyback off that question, is what we call lot ready turn. How many cars are lot ready, fully photoed, ready for sale, whatever, 15 or more photos. So of your 100, if you only have 80 ready for sale because the other 20 are tied up in parts holds and everything else. So if you're carrying 100, selling 80, but only 80 are lot ready, your lot ready turns 12. And that would indicate to you, then you got a turnaround time problem. You just, how come I'm not selling 100? You're doing a 12 turn. You could be selling 100 if you got, yeah. So I would look at those 3 turns: your average age turn, which is in your Viato, your actual sold turn, and then a lot ready turn. You got to get a feel for your inventory. But going back to leads, this is my passion. So internet sales.
Well, I was going to ask.
Go ahead.
I think you're going to segue into this, but I was going to ask you, because you did a video, I think towards the beginning of the month, on how to increase your leads per car without spending more money. Is that where you were?
Well, that's kind of a working on numbers a bit. And I don't know. I mean, can you show screens on this? Do you want? I could show you the
You
raw
sure
data.
can.
Oh man,
yeah.
Let me do this then. Hold on. Where's my mouse? There it is. Let me. I'm going to pull up this PowerPoint. This will blow your mind. Let me do this. And how do I share? Oh, hold on. How do I share my screen? Oh, I see. Never mind. Share. I'm going to go with this one. Share. And this happens to be. You guys don't care, do you? This happens to be from the President's Club thing I just presented on.
I don't care. Why would we care?
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep. Looks
can you
good.
see these numbers? Okay.
That's good. Yep.
All right. So let me break this down. And this is kind of, it was a play on numbers. And let me explain this. So I got 60 days of active leads from 10 dealers. And these are good operators. These weren't just crappy dealers. I'm going to take advantage of exposed numbers. These were good operators. Of those 10 dealers, they had 987 cars in stock. So about 100 each, right? 987. Can you see my arrow circling around?
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So of those leads, there was 3,875 leads, which puts 1.3 leads per car. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Before I go into this, let me I think I exposed this chart last time I was here. This different set of dealers, same concept here. 10 dealers, 60 days of leads. And of those active leads that I'm still supposed to call and email, 62% of those active leads were on sold cars. So imagine that. Customer submits a lead 2 days on a car. That car sells to a different customer 7 days later. That active lead still floating in your system that you're supposed to follow up, but that car sold. So that's happening on your lot. I put a thing up here that says, imagine having 10 customers walk on the showroom floor, and all of them are asking to see a specific car, but 6 of them are asking a car that's sold. What would you do? You would try to switch them onto something else, right? Okay. So let me go back to these numbers here. So of those leads, 1,300, again, a different set of dealers, but still almost the same math. 1,300 still had a car in stock. 2,500 were on cars that sold. So going down here, 34% of your active leads were on cars still in stock. 66 were on cars that were sold. So you only have, if you had 100 leads, 34 of them you can sell a car to today. That the same car they wanted. So imagine that. If you close 10% of your internet deals, that's only 3 deals. Your CRM is going to say you have a 3% closing percentage and you suck. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, here's some other math. Most CRMs, this is and I bring this up because, as you guys know, I started selling cars in '97 off the internet in the late '90s, early 2000s, and I think CRMs kind of run their follow-up process backwards. This is not their fault. This is how it's all set up. And what I mean by that is you get a fresh lead. The first 7 days, you're going to call them every day, right? So you're going to call them every day for the first 7 days, then maybe every other day for the next week or two, and then every third day the next week or two. And so what I was showing here was this gap. I'm giving you a day gap. I'm saying I want to take a look at all the leads that are 0 to 7 days old you haven't called in 2 days, because you're supposed to call them every day. So I'll give you a pad. And then the second week, you're calling them every 2 to 3 days. So I'm giving you a 3-day gap, 4-day gap on down. So check this out. 0 to 7 day old leads, 20 of the ones in stock, 26% of them haven't been contacted in 2 days. If it's out of stock, forget about it. 40% we haven't contacted in 2 days. But the one that stood out the most, and I'll get back to your leads per car thing here, 15 to 30 day old leads, still pretty fresh. 51% if the car's still in stock haven't been contacted in 4 days. 61% if the car was out of stock. It's crazy numbers. In general, and I'm patting you a day, in general, 53% of your leads, regardless in stock, aren't getting followed up with. So one of the things, remember I talked about the customers that I could switch to, right? Or the 62%. Do I have a lot of customers I think are going to be budget and segment loyal? They know they want a compact SUV and they got about 25 grand to spend. Yeah, they would like to have a Ford Escape, but they'll settle for a Liberty or something, right? So most people I think will be segment and budget loyal. So if a customer submits a lead on an Escape or walked in your showroom on an Escape, would you just tell them, hey, it's sold, and turn around and walk away? No. You're going to slow them down, and see if they're open to other makes and models. You're going to switch them. So what we do in our system, we're saying, okay, you got leads on cars that are sold. Do we have other vehicles we can switch them to? It's the same segment, compact SUV. And if they were interested in a car priced at 25 grand, I'm going to see if we got any other car, compact SUV that's 2,500 ahead and 2,500 below. So if I've got a 25 grand, 27.5 to 22.5 to 27.5. Do we got any other I can talk to this customer about? So of these 2,500 leads on sold out of stock cars, there's over half of them I could switch them. 1,200 of them I can switch to something else. Of those switches, those 1,200 leads, 77% of those leads haven't been contacted in 5 days. So going, yeah. You would not let that happen on your showroom floor. People would get fired for not TOing. Hey, hey, I seen you up that customer. Oh yeah, he was on that truck that sold yesterday. Well, did you ask if he show him something else? Well, no, he had to go back to work. You'll get fired if you do that too many times. But yet in our CRM, we let this happen. Think of all these leads that aren't getting contacted. 40%, 26%. Imagine a customer walking your showroom floor for 10 minutes without being helped. Manager would throw the chair through the window. What the heck, guys? I got this customer's been out here for 10 minutes, but yet the CRM, it's okay. That's what's happening.
And Jason, is there any particular lead source here, or is it just all the leads?
Yeah, no, just all the leads off their website, cars.com, AutoTrader, cars.com, or Car Gurus, any of them. So here's the work. What I say by work, it was a play on numbers. 3,800 active leads, 987 cars, 1.3 leads per car. All right, well, let's talk about the 1,300 that I can actually sell a car to today. And then the 1,200 out of stock switchable leads, that's 2,500 active people that I can probably put them in a car. Out of the 987, that's 2.6 leads per car, right? I'm kicking out the active leads on sold cars I have no replacement for. So on a per car basis, if you actually look and recycle, if you can recycle these active leads that are on sold cars, because they're not following BDC people. If they are following up with them more times than not, they're calling them and emailing about the car that the customer knew sold 2 weeks ago because they went to your website to look for it again to show their wife and it was gone or something, right? So they know it's gone, and that's why they ain't calling or emailing you back. So if you would actually recycle them and then try to put them on something else, that's where it was kind of a play on numbers. But you get what I mean? I don't have to buy more leads. You got plenty of leads here.
Yeah, I see where you're coming up with it.
Okay. So don't go spending more money to go get more leads to try to sell more cars because it's slow. Why don't you recycle the ones you have? And if you actually look at them, the ones that you currently have in stock and effectively work them, 51% not being worked, right? And then the other half that you could actually put something else into their face, and that's what we're doing. So that's what I was showing here. So this guy has this car in stock. He doesn't know, should I call or email or should I drop the price? Well, he's got 5 leads. And of those 5 leads, this car hasn't been 10 days, 3 days, 10 days, 7 days. We haven't contacted the 10. But not only that, we found 21 switch opportunities. So now you go from 5 leads to 27 leads to try to get rid of this 53-day-old car. It's not a pricing problem. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I bet there's a word track issue going on the lead response too.
Yeah, but here's what I was talking about with CRMs and kind of working backwards. See this 50? It's a 53-day-old car with a 52-day-old lead. By the time it's 52-day-old lead, it's probably telling you to call them once a month. More times than not, the dealer's probably already moved it to lost, right? Here, if I got a 53-day-old car and I got a 60-day age policy, wouldn't I want to call any lead every day, right? Hey, I got a 50-day-old car. I got to get rid of it. I got to call an email. I got to get off this car in the next 7 days. I'm going to call an email every day until I can get somebody on this, right? I would have a sense of urgency. But my CRM says, hey, don't follow up that lead for 30 days because it's an old lead. Right? So in reality, we should, the other stat was Cars.com showed that 60% of people nowadays with COVID and stuff are taking over a month to buy a car. 60% because of, cars selling quick, lack of availability, of course, maybe having to order a car. But their research is now going for over 60% over a month. So a 52-day lead statistically is probably a more ready buyer because they've been doing a lot of research sometimes than the 5-day, lead. But my curiosity is, you got a lead on this car at day 1. What was the price then, and what was your gross, right? Did you just not follow up with them? So that's the other thing. And one of the things we're showing is like here, this customer walking toward this car, this 17 Mitsubishi Outlander is sold. That's gone. So this is an active lead on a sold car. So what are we doing about it? Well, there's other cars. They want a Mitsubishi. Did they really want a Mitsubishi Outlander? Or are they looking for a 20 grand SUV? Can we talk to them about an Escape or a Tucson or Juke or the other ones there, right? So that's
because ain't no one looking for a Mitsubishi that's not going to be willing to look at something else.
So, that's what I was talking about with leads. It's like, my gosh, there's so, in my mind, I've been doing this, and Jeff, because I remember we talked years ago when I was doing articles in Dealer Magazine and all this, my understanding of how lead management CRM, until you mix the inventory into these numbers, we're just starting to peel back those numbers I just showed you. I just started exposing that last 2 weeks ago. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if I can trend this out, if I can see, if I can increase the amount of, decrease the amount of people we're not getting a hold of in those time frames. And if I can adjust a follow-up process based on the car position, not the lead age position, it would be more effective. So, you know what I'm saying? Like 50-day-old lead on a 50-day-old. I'm going to need to call and email them every day going, hey, folks, this car's leaving my lot in the next 7 days. I'm either wholesaling it, cheap selling it and wholesaling it to another dealer, but I'd rather cheap sell it and give it to you. If not, are you interested in this car or this car or this car? And so, Jeff, and both of you guys, I think you can appreciate
I think
that is.
Yeah, I think this would be, something like that would be great to have some type of automated process, email or text that would automatically hit that customer depending on the status in the CRM, with like-minded vehicles.
Yeah, I thought about that. I thought about like Could we text these customers for the dealer and say, hey, that car sold, here's some other options. And if they re-engage, the dealer gets re-engaged to try to simplify that. But you know, I'm not in the CRM business. We just grab the data from the CRMs. You know, I don't want to step on too much toes.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah. But there's a huge gap between, I mean, think about it. The dealerships, the managers there every day to meet and greet customers and sell them cars. And they do that physically. They do a great job. But when they sit down to manage, quote unquote, the virtual lot, the used car manager's over here in one system, let's say vAuto, and he's managing his inventory. Well, the BDC or the internet department, they don't have access to vAuto. They're over here in their CRM and they're talking to customers and calling and emailing. And they're assuming that the used car manager is doing their job, and the used car manager is assuming the BDC is doing their job. But yet, as you've seen there, and some good operators, there's big gaps there, and that's not happening. And that's what we did, the what we call lot walk. We do a physical lot walk every day. We make sure all this is, but what are we doing digitally? Because we're not communicating together digitally on our virtual lot like we do our physical lot. And like you said, sure in the heck would not let customers walk around the showroom floor for 10 minutes, not being meet and greeted. But yet we got 5 leads on a 53-day-old car. We haven't called or emailed in 10 days. And those other customers that came in on a sold car, we're ignoring them because I got 21 other leads I can work to get, you know. So it's just stuff we're just peeling back. I'm getting excited about it. And that's why going back to that whole President's Club at driving sales was, you know, by October, you know, I'm going to have a lot more data that kind of understand the weave in and out of cause and effect of all this.
And I suspect you'll be touching on a lot of this stuff, probably digging quite a bit deeper at the Carpalooza.
Yeah. So that's in a month. So between now and then, I'm going to get a little bit more data sets and stuff with this and see. Right now, I'm having guys starting to work this way, dealerships, you know, handling their switch leads and trying to switch them to something and exposing and getting dealers to. So hopefully in a month, I got some more of that data, how it impacted their numbers. And we're already seeing some spikes in fresh sale rates and stuff. I mean, think about that. A lot of dealers, and I had another screenshot of that, but I won't go back to it. A lot of dealers will price a car up when they first get it because it's fresh and try to get gross, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so you probably don't have a lot of leads on it yet. So I've got a screenshot. These 0 to 15-day-old cars, I'm priced at 100, 110, and I just put them there and I'll drop them in a little bit. I know I'm being unrealistic. You have no leads, but there's 20 switch leads. There's 15 switch leads. So before you drop that price, call those 15 switch leads and see if you can get them on this car before you drop the price. So we're starting to see dealers doing that and the fresh sale rate increasing.
So, Jason, there's some good questions coming from Dan Sayer and Chris Leslie. I know we're over time already, but the questions they're asking they could do a whole show on it.
I'm okay for a few minutes. What's that?
All right.
You guys are.
So Dan's asking, how would you recommend dealers price in comparison to the classifieds? Good, better, too high, or should they stick to their tools like vAuto and ignore?
Yeah. And I don't know if you want, I could show a screen, but here, let me do that. And I don't want to turn this into a pitch, but I'm going to look at I'm going to look at market data. But again, I also want to take a look at things that I can control, right? And so let me just show you, because I'm showing you this because dealers can do this themselves. Can you guys see this screen here?
Yep.
There you go. Okay, it's called Work the Facts. So again, we call it Work the Facts. So a couple things I'm going to gauge about this car. One, you know, what's my ROI so far? Is it good or bad? When's the last time I changed the price? You know, this one, it's been 14 days. What's my average? So this car is 10 grand higher than my average investment. Based on my sale rate, again, going back to last 2 weeks, sale rates, I'm heavy in 2008. This is an 18. So I'm heavy in that year. So my 18s are sitting around. I'm heavy in this segment, intermediate car or luxury car. I'm heavy in this make. So Mercedes, I got more than I'm selling. It's in an age bucket I'm not selling enough out of. Example there would be maybe 20% of your inventory is 15 to 30 days old, but only 10% of your sales have been going out of that bucket. You're not selling enough to keep up. So that's an issue. Have I got any leads in the last 7 days? No. Or yes, you had 2. Is it Miley? Is it converting online, Auto Trader or not? Here's a lead. They got a lead they haven't contacted in 3 days. So this is 22 different metrics. Again, you can kind of get them out yourself, but in my eyes, I'm going to go, what's happening on my lot? Am I having that year? Am I having a segment? When's the last time I changed the price? Is it converting or not? Okay, if this car has a lot of things going against it, now pivot to the V-Autos and change prices. I've never been the guy to try to satisfy the car guru gods to make it a good or great deal or whatever. Example was I had a dealer that Car Guru's rep or one of those companies came and said, hey, you should drop this Pacifica to a great deal, because it's too high priced and everything. Well, it was a Chrysler store, and he knew that Pacifica's left his lot at 98%. In order to make it a great deal, he had to be at 93%. So he's like, no, I'm not going to drop my Pacifica's, leave my lot at 98%. I don't need it to be a great. I'm a Chrysler store. I can sell Chryslers different than the internet, right? I can get fresh ups. I don't have any new. I can, so know what's happening on your lot, pivot to the market data. And then if it happens to be a good or great or fair deal on those sites, so be it, but I think a combination of all three, maybe, but I definitely your lot, market data, and then pivot to and see how it ranks there.
We got another one from Chris Leslie here. What's the average amount of leads per car you think is a good number?
It all depends. I have a dealer that he went from 3.5 leads per car, and his sale rate was great. And then he's dropped down to like 1.5 leads per car. And so, but I could see what happened. His pricing went up 2 or 3%. We started making adjustments, and we're trying to get that lead. And it's weird. A lot of people say price doesn't sell cars, but it sells the shoppers. And we watched his 16 to 30 day bucket. His pricing went up 3%, and his leads per car dropped in half. And we could see that pattern go, dude, as soon as your pricing went up in that bucket, your leads per car went up in that bucket. And guess what? His sale rate dropped in that bucket. So he wasn't selling enough in that bucket. His pricing went up in his leads. So of course we have to adjust. And then which cars should I adjust? And again, that's where I'm like, well, hold on. Let's see what cars we're having a year, having the segment, having the price, we haven't changed, haven't converted. That's a problem. Do we have any, is it a pricing problem? I don't know. Maybe we got 5 leads we haven't followed up with. Maybe we got some switches. Let's do that first. And then if none of that works, let's go, make adjustments.
Are you still a proponent of pricing the cars strategically just with, how would you do it? Just what, even numbers at the end, or,
flat,
if it's 20,000, just flat pricing, 20, make it 20, don't make it, 11,999 because of 100%. The way they show up in the search on cars.com Auto Trader.
And so what he's talking about is what we call flat pricing. I did our 11 years ago, 12 years ago now. But I 20 grand instead of 19,995. Because again, if somebody says I want a 20 to 25 grand car on the site, because that's their budget, the 19,999
more search results.
Yeah, you miss it for $1. So going into recessions and inflation right now, if anybody's buying a car, they're really going to look at their budget, right? And all I got is 40 grand to spend. They're not saying all I got is 39,999 to spend. So definitely, even going forward, I think it's going to be more important. People one of the most popular price points that people search for was 22 grand. I'm like, that's a weird
really
number.
That is a weird
think
number.
about it. Do a payment calculator. What's a $400? How many people want a $400 a month car payment?
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So people are going to go to the bank or going to go to a calculator and say, hey, I can afford 20 grand, or I can afford 400 a month. I know my rate will probably be 5, 6, 7%, 2%, whatever. And they spit out, okay, well, that's 22 grand, Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to start looking for 22 grand cars. And so if I'm at 21,999 and they're looking 22 to 25 or whatever the range is, and I'm not going to risk missing that opportunity to get in front of somebody.
No,
100%. And then we drop at 500 usually from there. 250 for a cheap car. I'm really already cheap anyways, but mostly 500 adjustments.
Well, Jason, you always load us up with some great information, man. Not that it won't turn out great, as I'm sure it will. The Carpalooza. Again, we'll get that information over in the forums as well in case anyone's interested. And
I can tell you what's 1990. I'm 25 years. I know Tommy's 30 plus. I know Ed's 30 plus years. I know Alex Vetter because he started Cars.com in the 90s.
Yep.
Chura, that dude worked in a factory at Ford, and he was general manager of a Ford
That's right.
dealership,
Yep.
right? And he created the
Yep.
software. I mean, you're talking 100 plus years of retail experience, all for free in Chicago. It's going to be a
Can't
good
beat
little
that.
thing. Yeah. And it's
Can't
back
beat
to the
that.
basics again. Just, hey, what can I do to get, all these new shiny tools of this marketing and do this and do that? It's great, but man, you're not even managing what you have. So it's gonna be fun.
That's the dealer world for you.
No, I appreciate.
All right, man.
Carson
If anyone wants to reach out to you directly, it's LotPop.com.
Yep. J Rice at LotPop.
Again, we'll get more. Okay. We'll get that information over in the forums for anyone. So, dude, we really appreciate it.
As always.
Thank you, man. No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and again, congrats on the success with LotPop, man. You've been killing it, dude. It's been fun to watch you start it from the beginning and just watch it grow the way it has. It's very inspiring.
And we're running through some headaches.
Awesome.
The first, it's almost 9. It'll be 9 years in September, but the first 6 years with Google Sheets, manually pulling data. It's just we launched our software in February of 2020, right before COVID. So we're just an infancy software company for a year and a half, but it's all built off of what we did manually for 6 years. So yeah, we're going through our kinks and growing pains, but no, it's been fun. Thank you for that
awesome,
support,
man. You got it. Always, for sure.
Sure, Jason.
All right, gentlemen. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
See y'all later.